Well, I want to thank everybody for being here today on this monumentous occasion to preserve traditional lands of California's first people and our areas here. And before we get started, we're going to sing a traditional song from our people, Serrano song, Bighorn Sheep song. We've asked permission of the Miwok, Nisenan people from here to be able to sing these songs in this area. So we're going to go ahead and open up with that song here, and it's a Serrano Bighorn Sheep song. Shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva, shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva, shoy babano and no eva. Shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva. Shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva. Shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva. Haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva, shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva, haku pae patenaiva, shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, haku pae patenaiva. Haku pae patenai, ha! Shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva, shoy babano and no eva. I want to thank you all for being here, and as you'll see that this occasion warrants a lot of cultural understanding of who we are as California's first people. And with that, I'd like to bring up the Kw'tsán's Tribal Council so they could share some songs with us also. Just center it out.
Hello, everybody. I'm Councilman Zanway. Thank you so much for being here, everybody, on this monumentous occasion, as Chairman or Assemblyman Ramos stated. We're here to just offer a couple of songs in honor of today in this event. And, you know, without further ado, we'll get right into it.
Akwenya le panga kome wache ome Taoisa Akwenya le panga kome wache o Akwenya le panga kome wache ome Taoisa Akwenya le panga kome wache o Akwenya le panga kome wache o Miss Taoisa it's always hard when you live hung up for me with you. When you live hung up for me with you. Miss always hard, Miss always hard. It's always hard when you live hung up for me with you. When you live hung up for me with you. Miss always hard. Always up when you live hung up for me with you. Up when you live hung up for me with you. It's always home, it's always home. I'm here, play, oh, I'm here, play, oh, I'm here. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you very much.
Let's give them a round of applause for that real quick. And as we start, you understand the importance of why this land needs to be protected because of the cultural songs and the cultural bearers that not only ourselves but elders have passed down for us. Now, please welcome to the stage, and we're going to have some opening remarks coming forward. And again, thank you as we continue to urge the President Biden to designate lands in Northern and Southern California as national monuments using the Federal Antiquities Act. I am proud to stand here today with tribal members, my colleagues, assembly members, and the Native American Legislative Caucus members that are here with us, and also authors of the Senate Joint Resolution, Senators Ben Allen and Senators Padilla. Let's give them a round of applause there. We also have with us Assembly Member Sharon Quirk Silva, who's with us today. And it's important that we continue to move forward to make sure that the proposed monuments that we're calling on the federal government to implement, Sáttítla areas up in Pitt River area. We also have Chuckwalla, Kw'tsán, really out there in the territories by Joshua Tree in the Colorado River area. These national monuments will represent long lands that value and cherish California's First Peoples' cultural resources and sacred significance to our people. Wildlife and natural resources existing on these lands will help us meet our state's climate protection challenges and persevere in irreplaceable areas to protect them and preserve them. And the songs that you heard singing, especially with the Serrano song, Bighorn Sheep song, talks about the bighorn sheep that still needs to be protected in those areas so our culture continues to move forward. And so by designating these areas, it's not just designating a monument. To us as Indian people, it's a way of life and protecting our lives of our ancestors and who we are and for future generations to move forward. SJR 16 by Senator Steve Padilla would urge the President to create the Chuckwalla National Monument, Joshua Tree National Monument, and the Kw'tsán National Monument. The proposed site would include 620 acres of public lands south of Joshua Tree National Park. It is an area that offers outdoor recreational opportunities, hosts endangered species such as desert tortoise, bighorn sheep, and migratory birds. In addition, these sites protect us from climate change related to habitat loss, warming temperatures, and drought. The lands also include the homelands of the Cahuilla, Chemehuevi, Mojave, Kw'tsán, Serrano nations, Indian people with culture and history with ties to the area. The acreage includes multi-use trail systems created by these peoples, by the First Peoples, and petroglyphs and other things that are still out there in these communities that need protected. These things are things that are very important to the Indian people. That's why we're here today. In addition to Joshua Tree National Park, this would include desert plants, the special habitat for Joshua Tree, and 46 reptile species, 57 mammal species, and more than 250 bird species. The Kw'tsán National Monument will protect the Fort Yuma Kw'tsán Indian Tribe's homeland in Imperial County along the Mexico and Arizona borders. The region also hosts valuable plants and animals and sacred areas. Senate Joint Resolution by Senator Ben Allen would establish the Sáttítla National Monument and northeast of Mount Shasta among the Shasta Trinity Klamath and Modoc National Forest in northeastern California. In addition to the wildlife and plant life, some of which are endangered, the acreage is most spiritual center for the Pitt River and Modoc tribes of California, who still use it for religious ceremonies and other gatherings. It's worth protecting as we call on the national federal government to protect these areas for our people. And beneath the land in that area, the Medicine Lake volcano plays an important role in California's water supply, capturing and discharging 1.2 million acre-feet of snow melt annually. Since time immemorial, all these areas, the places that we're standing on, have been Indian people's lands. Today, we're talking about calling on the federal government to protect, preserve sacred sites and cultural resources for our people that our elders talk to us about, that these songs talk about, and for future generations of the people here in California. We call on the federal government to implement the Antiquities Act to look at these areas and find it just to make sure that we're preserving these areas. So we continue to move forward on these areas. We have several speakers lined up here today, and you'll hear firsthand from the Indian people themselves about why it's so important for us to be able to have these issues in front of us and to talk about these issues and to have the ability to be in this press room here in the state capitol as Indian people, to have our voices heard of what's important to us, our elders, and our future generation. Now I'd like to bring up to the stage to say a few words is Senator Ben Allen.
Thank you. What a good morning. So fantastic to be here and to celebrate the progress we've been making so far on these important efforts to preserve lands. I'm Senator Ben Allen. I'm a kid from Los Angeles, from Santa Monica. But I always grew up with a great love for the outdoors. My family, we would go out and travel around the state, spend time in the desert and the mountains, and I developed a really deep love for these lands and for the people whose ancestry is so closely connected to these lands. I'm the proud author of SJR 17 that was mentioned just now, that calls on President Biden to establish the Sáttítla National Monument within the Shasta Trinity Klamath and Modoc National Forests up in the north. It's the ancestral homeland of the Pitt River people, as we've discussed, and other tribal nations as well, Modoc, Shasta, Karuk, and Wintu. These are some folks that I've had the great pleasure of working with on previous legislation to advance our mutual environmental causes in that part of the state. And we know that this land remains a culturally significant land for these peoples, playing a key role in their spiritual identity and their practices today. Of course, we're talking about protecting land. It doesn't just provide permanent protections for these indigenous communities, but it also takes significant steps forward in our conservation and preservation of special lands across our state, bringing us in line with the states and the nations, and include our world's 30 by 30 goals, as we've been really trying to push this broader biodiversity and land preservation agenda globally. We, of course, know we've got so many remarkable landscapes here in our state. This effort, both for all three of these national monuments and the expansion of Joshua Tree, recognizes the richness and beauty of our state, our need to conserve this irreplaceable natural resource that we're so blessed by, that quite frankly we're in a race against time, against development, against the onslaught of modernity, as more and more of these lands have been encroached upon. We also know there's incredible endangered species. In the area that I've been working on includes bald eagle, northern spotted owl. We mentioned some of the wonderful desert species that are in the desert parks as well. And we also know that there's a water aspect to this. We've been utilizing and sourcing our water in the state, and one of the many benefits that we'd get from greater land protection is the protection of critical water resources during this time of water uncertainty. There's a outdoor recreation component to this too, for both local communities and visitors from all over the state and indeed the world, preserving trails, outdoor education programs, bringing young people in from the cities to learn about the beauty of our deserts and mountains and forests so that they'll be more committed to preserving and protecting, and the next generation will be up here 20, 30 years from now doing more work on conservation. And lastly, most importantly, this is an effort that would allow these lands to permanently benefit from tribal stewardship. and that's preserved them for centuries, and that, quite frankly, has been disrespected over the past century. And this is about trying to rebalance the rightful role of tribes in the management and stewardship of these lands. So I just want to thank everybody here. I mean, I feel like we've been together several stages along this way. I'm seeing some familiar, friendly faces from the various hearings that we've had as we've moved these resolutions through, the chairman, the leadership from all of our partners in this effort, obviously colleagues. I also want to thank the broader environmental community that I see well represented here today. Thank you for stepping up with leadership and prioritizing this work, as you've got so many things happening on the floor. It really speaks volumes to see you here in this room today in support of our efforts. And I also want to thank the press. I mean, my involvement, I've loved these lands personally for my entire life, but I got engaged more intensely when I read an editorial, when I read an op-ed in the LA Times about talking about the effort to preserve these lands. And I said, I want to get involved with this. I want to be a part of this. I really want to help push this process along. And so press attention and focus has certainly been an important part of this process too. So thank you, Senator Padilla, my partner in this, Assemblymember Ramos, Assemblymember Quirk Silva. Thank you to the tribal leaders who continue to travel all the way from all over the state here to Sacramento to join this effort, to urge President Biden to take action. This will be a wonderful legacy as he exits from our national leadership, to provide a permanent, lasting protection for these sacred, special lands. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for that. And now I want to bring up to the podium Senator Steve Padilla.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's an honor to be among everyone with certainly my distinguished partners, certainly the precious tribal leadership, and all of you taking some time this morning. When we talk about urging the federal government to use the Antiquities Act, I think most of us think about things that are old or historic or past, and a part of that is appreciating from whence we came, and that respect, right? But it is also important to remember, as was just noted, these will be living monuments. They are designed to reinforce the fact that they are not past, but they are present, that they are alive, that they are inexorably tied to all of us and ties us all together. They are for the purpose of preservation and respect and enhancement and education most importantly, so that people can experience the sacredness and the history and the connection to these spaces. And so I've always wondered, Assembly member and others, whether or not that term is really a little bit outdated in itself, because it's only partly correct. But it's an important, happy occasion. I think it's certainly been my honor to work with many of the partners up here with specific respect to Joint Resolution 16. We're talking specifically about Chuckwalla. We're talking about expanding and elevating Joshua Tree and establishing the Kw'tsán National Monument, areas that I have the honor of working closely with and representing and doing my part, because it does take all of us. None of us does this work alone. This is an opportunity for the federal government to work in partnership with our Native peoples, and an amazing potential legacy for this administration to leave behind. And so I'm happy to have joined with Senator Allen, with the tribal leaders, and with many of you in this room to help advance this forward. And I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that we will put this into action, and it will be a living legacy for many future generations to come. And I'm honored to be among you. And I will say, I beg your leave and forgiveness, but I have about 3 committees meeting at the same time that I'm already late for. I know Senator Allen's in the same position. And so, with much love and respect, I'm grateful that you gave me an opportunity to add my words here this morning, to reinforce my dedication to this endeavor. And with your permission, I will move to my next obligations. And I wish you all an amazing day. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for those remarks. And now we're going to hear from the tribal leaders talking about how important it truly is to have these lands preserved for our nation's first people. So join me in welcoming to the podium Yacht Bamford, Chairman, Pitt River Tribe.
Good morning, everybody. I'm honored to stand here today with our brothers and sisters from across California, united in our call to protect sacred lands by the way of national monument designation. For generations, the Pitt River people have fought to safeguard and preserve our ancestral lands, and today we are closer than ever to securing the protection of Sáttítla, in part thanks to the leadership of those standing around me. These lands and the waters beneath them are not just a part of our history, it is central to our identity, our spirituality, and our future. By designating Sáttítla as a national monument, we can have faith that this special and unique sacred place will remain intact for those who have revered it in the past, treasure it to this day, and for future generations to come. Together, we can ensure that Californians continue to have access to millions of gallons of source water that are kept safe from the exploits of man, industrialization, and climate-related impacts, stored beneath the surface in this enormous and vital aquifer and important headwaters of California. I want to acknowledge the leadership of the California legislature, particularly the efforts behind Senate Joint Resolution 17, which received overwhelmingly bipartisan support. This demonstrates the broad recognition that California is home to incredibly unique lands of cultural sensitivity and ecological importance that deserve the highest level of attention and protection. We stand in solidarity with those calling for the protection of Kw'tsán and Chuckwalla lands that are equally rich in history, cultural significance, and natural beauty. Together, these designations represent a powerful step towards honoring the inherent and inalienable rights of tribal nations and to enable tribal self-determination to preserve the ecological integrity of our state. In our worldview, these are gifts of the Creator for the purpose of helping the people. Since the beginning of time, these places have served as anchors of our world. And if these places are allowed to be destroyed, the world will continue to become dangerously out of balance. I want to thank the leaders around me and from across California and the nation for standing together to protect what so many treasure. Your support is critical in ensuring that these lands remain protected for future generations. But your leadership is what will bring this to fruition. Together, our voice is powerful, and we echo to those in Washington, D.C. to hear us. We urge President Biden to act now, to use the Antiquities Act to protect these landscapes, to recognize the deep connections we have to these lands, and to support the ongoing efforts to protect them from the ongoing threats of industrial development. Time is of the essence. These sacred lands and waters need to be safeguarded now. Protect Sáttítla. Thank you.
Hey, we see ya denawe do, da denawe do. Hey, we see ya denawe do mundo hedachi is chi. Hey, we see ya denawe do ya denawe do. Hey, we see ya denawe do mundo hedachi is chi. Hey, we see ya denawe do ya denawe do. Hey, we see ya denawe do mundo hedachi is chi. Hey, we see ya denawe do ya denawe do. Hey, we see ya denawe do mundo hedachi is chi. Oh, Sasula Aya, Sasula Aya.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that and for your song. Definitely appreciate that. Next, we'll bring up to the podium to say a few words is Chairman Thomas Torres from the Torres Martinez Desert Kuya Indians.
Thank you, Assemblyman. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I just want to start by saying, in our language, we say, we're here. We say Epachimkwal, which means we were here. And for all of my relatives, my Native American relatives that are here now, we say Epamal Chimkwaltem, which we are here. And I also want to finish that phrase by saying Pentawanamish Chemkwalenim, which means we will always be here. As Native Americans, we will always be here. So my name is Thomas Torres, Jr. I'm an American, but more than that, I'm Native American, as my grandfather was, he was established in America in 1924. And I just want to reiterate the fact that we're 100 years now that the United States allowed Native Americans that have been here, as I said, Doyamanish, always, forever. We've always been here. In 1924, we were allowed to be Americans. And then before that, in 1850, when the state, California state, became a state of the United States, we were here. And I always want to say again, Doyamanish, always. We have always been here, regardless of what happens with this state. But now, in these times, we want to be able to protect the lands that we're talking about here. We want to be able to protect the lands as evident as my grandfather saw, my great-grandfathers, but more importantly, I want my grandchildren to see the land as my grandfathers have seen it. As, time immemorial, we always say time immemorial, but to the people, in my language, we always say Doyamanish, which means always. It can also mean forever, Doyamanish. So, the Kw'tsán tribe is here also from the desert. The Agua Caliente tribe and Miwok tribe, represented here, San Manuel. And I just wanted to explain and just say to everyone here that the desert is, not just something that you drive past and people don't see any part of life, but when you're out there and you camp out there, you'll see that there is life out there. And there's nothing, I said earlier, these pictures that are here, nothing can express or show what you can actually see when you're out there. No words or pictures can express what you see when you're actually out there. You see the blooming in the spring. You see and hear the active life in the nighttime in the summer. And you feel the cold and you feel how active the land is in the winter. So again, this land is not part of our past, it is our present, our future. And we're asking today, I'm asking as chairman for the Torres Martinez to President Biden to designate these monuments as presented today to protect these lands so that we can enjoy them as we always have, as Native Americans have always have. And this region, again, in this monument and all these monuments today bring a synergy of all the tribes here today. You'll see many tribes that are here, many can't make it, but many tribes that are watching this today, you know that we need to protect these lands. We know we need to protect the cultural landscape, our sacred lands. We know to protect against desecration, vandalism, and erasure due to irresponsible development. So the reality, again, is for the president to protect and preserve these lands for the future. Granting the national monument status is not about conservation, it's about recognizing our tribe's stewardship to these lands. Again, Toyalamish, always, we've always been here. I just want to make sure that everyone gets that in their minds and walks away with that word, always, Toyamanish. Under the president and Secretary Deb Haaland, we have recognized the true unprecedented progress that they have done so far. There's been over 120 designated monuments by the president and his staff so far. So we're alongside with my relatives here today. We stand united in our plea again to the President of the United States for the monuments presented here today. And I say in our words that it is a moral imperative. So by declaring these lands national monuments, we ensure their stories, our traditions, the songs that you heard today, and the spiritual practices of all of our peoples within California are not lost to history. So we have an opportunity today to safeguard for our next generations. When we decide today, and when the President decides from this point on to shape the future, we urge that him to sign through the Antiquities Act. We save this for, like I said, for generations, our grandchildren. One day I want my grandchildren to be able to say, this is a beautiful land, the same way that my grandfather has shown my father, and my father has shown me when we go hiking into these areas and say, this is a beautiful land, this is a beautiful country, this is our land. We want to be able to tell our grandchildren the same thing. Again, Thomas Torres, Tribal Council Chairman for the Torres Martinez Desert Cahuilla. And my last sentence again is Ben Duayarmis, Chuckwalla, which means we will always be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman.
Well, thank you so much for that. And you're hearing firsthand why it's so important to continue to protect the resources that are out here in the states of California and surrounding areas. Now it's my honor to bring up to the podium Jordan D. Joaquin, President of Fort Yuma, Kw'tsán.
Good morning. Assemblymember Ramos, it's an honor to be here in your presence today. We need more Assemblymember Ramos. We need more. He's the beginning, but he's not the end. We need more. My name is Jordan Joaquin, President of the Kw'tsán Indian Tribe. I am proud to stand here with my fellow tribal leaders, allies, relatives, and friends who believe in the idea that tribal nations and native people deserve connection to and stewards of our homelands. We are the original stewards of our lands. Your vote was a signal that native people are still here. We are thriving. We are strong. And by supporting our relation with the land, you are telling us that our culture matters. Our history matters. Our people matter. As leaders, we need to strengthen the people around us. The passage of SJR 16 and 17 is an investment in strengthening the lives of the Kw'tsán people and the nations who steward these lands. I'm going to go off script, Assemblymember Ramos, because I hear my tribal leaders talk about what it means to them. You guys see pictures of water, the air, mountains. It's a picture to many, but to Indians, it's our DNA. We are from the water, we're from the air, we're from the land. The trails that are still out there were created by our ancestors. When we go visit, we're home. When we go and we want to educate those who don't know about Indian people. 10 years ago, the Kw'tsán people would probably not want to do this because we want to do it ourselves. But we, as Kw'tsán people, along with my tribal leaders, understand partnership is the key to success. Partnership. We all know what the federal government has done to Indian people, but that is our past. Where do we go from here? We go to the future for our grandchildren. We're here to extend our hand out to the communities, especially to the U.S. government, not for a handout. And then people don't go out for handouts, but we just want to extend our hand, a handshake, to reaffirm the trust responsibilities of this United States government. Partnership is key to success. Partnership is going to get us somewhere. our tribal seal, together we progress. It's our tribal motto, and that is so true today. On behalf of the Kw'tsán people, we give deepest gratitude to the champions, State Senators Ben Allen, Steve Padilla, Assembly Member James Ramos, Eduardo Garcia, and members of the California State Native American Caucus. And now with your support, front and center, the Kw'tsán people call on President Biden and his administration to leverage the Antiquities Act and to swiftly issue an executive order that will provide protections of the land for the Kw'tsán, Sáttítla, and Chuckwalla National Monument. This is important to us. It's who we are. As you heard the songs that are sung throughout Indian country, it talks about our past, it talks about our present, and it talks about what's most important, our future. We are people of the land. We are not going anywhere. We are survivors of the land. We are here to stay. We are your neighbor. We are also United States citizens of this great state of California. We're Americans, and we're blessed to be Native Americans as well. Thank you.
Now we'll also hear from the Secretary of Torres Martinez.
Thank you. Acha'i Matulaka, Miyohuen, good morning, hello. I'm Altrina Santillanes, Tribal Council Secretary for Torres Martinez Desert Kuya Indians Tribe. And I just want to say thank you to all our partners that have journeyed with us along the way. The Bureau of Land Management, we have our nonprofit agencies, our environmental agencies, our tribal leaders coming alongside us in this journey. You know, us as Native Americans, I loved how President Joaquin, he said, you know, we extend our hand because, you know, non-Native and Native, we need our non-Native brothers and sisters to come alongside us to get us where we know we should be, where our voice needs to be heard. So I just want to say thank you to our champions, Assemblyman James Ramos, Congressman Raul Reese, the senators that have been represented here today. Just want to say thank you for that, you know, and for me as a tribal leader, as a member of the Torres Martinez Desert Kuya Indians tribe, you know, I go into our ancestral areas and our lands, and you know, it's beautiful. And like Chairman Torres had said, you know, we want it to be where our ancestors, they were able to enjoy it and live in it, and we also want that for the present and for the future generations also, where we can also share this also with our communities that are in our surrounding areas, who also we can educate and we can teach about our culture. There's the endemic, wildlife that is out there, that it cannot thrive, it cannot grow, it cannot be anywhere else other than these national monument areas, and these are what we need to preserve and protect. And so I just want to say thank you today, and also that, you know, President Biden, that he would sign this, you know, for us as tribes by the Antiquities Act, and that we do. The time is of the essence, and that is we are hopeful that he would also do. And so I just want to say thank you for having us here, and it's an honor to be here. It's an honor to stand alongside everybody here. So. This is history. This is history in the making, and I am honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that and the speakers and tribal leaders that are here to really share with you how important it truly is for Indian people here, not only in the state of California, but across the nation. When you talk about 30 by 30 and you talk about climate change and preserving areas, there's no way that the state or the nation can move forward in preserving these areas without the voices of this nation's first people at the forefront. It's time that we start to move forward in identifying those resources that are still culturally sensitive and needed by our people to continue to move forward with our cultural ceremonies and for our future generations. With that, now I'd like to bring up from the state legislature, Assembly Member Sharon Quirk Silva.
Thank you. Beautiful ceremony with your dances and singing. And as a former elementary school teacher for over 25 years in the California public schools, the Native American stories have been told, but a very small amount of these stories. And this is about not only your stories, your narratives, but your mark on California and the United States. Preserving these monuments and protecting them for the future is what this is about. But it's about much more. It's about the education of Californians and them respecting these lands. It's about them learning about the culture. And it's about us as Californians urging the president to sign this executive order. We know this is timely. We know there is an urgency with this particular executive order, and we know how important it is for the future. So much was saying, but again, as an elementary school teacher, I'll use the P's. It's about preserving, protection, about looking towards the past, looking towards the future, and about partnership with Native and non-Native moving together to look from the sea to the desert, from the south to the north. This is the time, it's the historic time to stand together for future generations so they can understand the Native culture and the value and the respect that we have not always shown in our history, but that we need to march together to say, this is the time, and we have the window, and we urge President Biden to sign this now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Well, thank you so much for all the speakers, and especially for the songs that were shared to show how important, how deep these issues run within Indian country and our culture. The songs that we sing aren't just songs about things that don't mean relevance. These songs bring us to the connection of the land that we're trying to preserve, to the animals that run around those areas. We sing about those areas, and it teaches us as Indian people to move forward. This is not a time for us to call for preservation of lands in general. It's time for us to call for the voices of Indian people to be heard, to preserve that land so our culture continues to move forward for future generations in the state of California and in the nation. We joined in the state legislature as the only California Indian ever elected in the state. In both these resolutions, we worked on the Senate and the Assembly floor and got off the floors in a bipartisan way. Nonpartisans moving forward in the areas, because when it comes to the keepers of this land, the indigenous of this land, and from the land itself, our ancestors and our elders that are still crying out, tell them who we truly are as Indian people. Make sure their voices are being heard. And the resiliency of our people is why we're here today to call on the President of the United States to invoke the Antiquities Act to preserve this for future generations of our tribes and of our people moving forward. That's the call today. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here and all those who have spoke as we now conclude this press conference. And we will open it up if there's any questions out there. Without any questions, we will make a call To those that are hearing from us, start writing letters. Use your social media to move forward, to call on the federal government, President Biden, to invoke the Antiquities Act to make sure we preserve these lands. It's not just a press conference, it's a call to action. Let's do that. Thank you.